Hey, what's up, everybody? How you doing? Good evening. Welcome back to another Wednesday night with me, Dr. Harley, of course. And hey, without any further ado, we got an exciting guest tonight. We have the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Steve from SIK Baggers. What's going on, Steve? Good evening.
What's going on, brother? Doing all right?
You ever get an introduction like that?
No, not like that, buddy. That was awesome.
Oh man, Steve, thanks for coming on tonight. It's so exciting. I was so happy to meet you and your wife down in Daytona, hang out with you the few times we did. I really appreciate the phone call you gave me after Daytona. Spent a couple hours on the phone with me. That was awesome. Yeah. Everybody's been asking me, what's Steve like? What's Steve like? I said, well, I tell you, one of the most humble gentlemen I've ever met, most sincere gentleman I've ever met, and a joy to have. And wait till he's on the show.
Yeah, that's awesome, brother. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's really nice meeting your wife too.
Oh, thank you. She's awesome. She puts up with me, so she's a saint.
Right. Same here. She's over here for support. She don't want to be in the video, but she's here. So.
Yeah. Well, it happens. Hi, darling. It's good to hear your voice.
Okay. I didn't get to meet your wife, so I'm sorry.
That's okay. But hey, you're in your shop tonight. That's awesome. As we were talking earlier, busier than crazy,
Yeah.
So
right season coming up, and everybody wanting to work on their bikes.
Yeah, I'm like, where were you all winter?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Where were you when I was sitting around doing nothing?
Yeah.
But hey, let's get into it. So, I got a plethora of questions for you. I'm gonna put you in the hot seat. So what got you into motorcycling?
So pretty well grew up around it. I think a lot of us did. I think you and I were even talking about that down in Daytona. We were, grew up, probably 7 or 8 years old, probably getting my first dirt bike, got a little Yamaha 80, graduated to a Suzuki 90, and then a 125, and then into the death machines, the 3-wheelers and, all that stuff, and 4-wheelers. And then, gradually went into, believe it or not, back in the day, I had my fair share of crotch rockets, as we say. And then kind of graduated into Harleys, but I was raised around Harleys, man. I mean, my dad always had one. There was always people at the house with the Harleys, and that's kind of how it went. My transfer from crotch rocket to Harleys was the year that the V-Rod came out, and I saw that bike and I was like, I don't know, man, that's pretty cool. And that's what pushed me over into Harleys. So been on a Harley ever since.
Yeah, I love the V-Rod muscle myself. I thought that was a pretty cool bike.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Not as comfortable as I thought it was going to be. It's a little different, but
They weren't made for comfort.
No. So didn't take long before I was on a Fat Boy Low, a couple of soft tails in there, and then finally we got a Street Glide, that one back there. That was like our first.
That the blue one.
Yeah, that was the Charcoal Pearl one that you see in all the like super old videos. That bike pretty well is what started our channel.
Yeah, right on. Hey, Rolling Throttle, we're going to be getting to that a little bit later. We're getting things in chronological order. So we covered what got you. We got you covered on what got you into motorcycling. And you said your first bike was a couple dirt bikes. What was your first street bike?
Street bike. I went big, dude. I went 1100 Ninja.
Oh wow.
Yeah. That was dumb. That was really dumb. And I'm super blessed that I'm sitting here having this conversation with you right now.
Yeah. Well, I think we all had those stupid moments. I mean, when I was 17 years old, I had a GSXR 1100. Yeah. And I was in 87.
Yeah. It's around about the same time. Yeah. So it was had a couple of boosters, and then back to a Yamaha, and then traded that off on the V-Rod. So
do you remember the FJ 600 from Yamaha from 85, 86?
No, I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had one
Yeah.
for a little while.
Yeah.
You
I'm
know?
glad I got away from them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, same here. Roll a lot more comfortable on these baggers and these Harleys than you do on those
Yeah.
fast slant bikes.
I see him and I still want to ride one. Not very far. I just want to ride it,
Yep.
road and bring it back. Be like, all right, that's cool.
Do you know what I have an inkling for to have in my garage? A Royal Enfield.
Yeah.
Because it's a 1960s, 1970s style with today's technology.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
You know, cool. And they're pretty well reasonably priced. I mean, I think top of the line was like $5-6 grand.
Yeah. No. Yeah, that's the only thing I miss about the metric world is the prices.
Yeah.
So
yep.
definitely a whole world of difference.
Oh yeah. And then you get into whole customizations and making it your own.
Yeah. Yeah. We all know about that.
So okay, what got you into YouTube?
So
her? It's her fault.
She said that I should start doing some little just install every time, when we bought that bike, just the stuff that I was changing on the bike. She was like, well, you should just do a video on it, and this shop was basically just that part back there in the very back, wood walls, no heat, no air, there's ladders hanging on the wall. There's a couch out here, is crazy, lawnmower in the corner, just started doing little simple videos and then realized people were like watching them, and it was helping people. So it just kind of, grew from there. I think this is what, 6 years now, 6 or 7 years we've been doing it.
Where'd the name SIK Baggers come from?
So I used to, I knew I originally had wanted it to just be like SIK, like SIK Baggers. And at the time, there was already a SIK Baggers. I think they're long gone now, but I wanted to make sure I wasn't, copying somebody else's name. Just Googled it and it came up and I'm like, well, I can't use that. So I changed it to SIK. And then I think when I was getting ready to do my logo, like kind of start designing my logo, I was like SIK. I was like, well, that's kind of, you could do a K for customs and then it'd be Southern Illinois Customs. So and that's where we're at. We're in Southern Illinois. So that was kind of the play on the words SIK, Southern Illinois Custom Baggers. So that's it. Nothing super exciting. It just kind of all kind of whirlpooled there.
Nice. It works. I mean, it rolls easy off the tongue. It's easy to remember, SIK Baggers, because you do build some sick looking bikes.
Yeah. Well, at the time I was, I don't know if I was quite living up to the name at the very beginning, but we were trying, so we knew what we wanted, but it takes a lot of money and a lot of time. And
you got one or the other. You never have both at the same time.
That street glide was built, one part at a time. It's not like we bought the bike and just had an unlimited budget and I just started throwing parts at it. It's just like your average everyday Joe at home building this bike,
Yep. Just like everybody else.
Yeah, put it on there and do a video, and might be a couple of weeks before I can do another video.
Yep. So. People look at my Softail and say, "Wow, I wish I could afford to do all that." And I says, "Well, Rome wasn't built in a day, and that bike has been evolving since 2022, and here it is almost 3 years later. This is where it's at, and it takes time and money and." Sometimes I have the time and don't have the money. And when I have the money, I don't have the time. And that money gets spent other places.
Okay. Hang on just a second.
Yeah, right on.
Here to get the bike. It's okay. What is it?
No, she said, they keep knocking and ringing on the door. So I didn't know.
Can you go see what it is? Sorry about that.
No worries.
Yes. Well, that guy's supposed to come and get his bike tonight. And I don't know. I guess they're beating on the door. I told him the bike was outside. The bike I worked on all day today.
Yep.
Just got done with,
so you built the shop up off of, was it a garage that you had?
Yeah, so it was just a big garage. I mean, it was 20 by 30, And then it didn't take me long to start clearing it out and start making room, you know. And then we bought our second bike, so needed more room. And now it was what, last year?
Like a year and a half ago, you did the big addition.
Yeah, yeah. So we had a big 20 by 30 slip poured out here, and we ended up just building on that and then pouring another slip in front of this. So yeah, it worked out. It gave us a lot more room. But I mean, you know, in the last 6 years, I mean, we're up to 5. We have 5 bikes in here, let alone everybody else's, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I'm on 2 working motorcycles and a chopper build.
yeah.
And I'm only working out of a 24 by 24 spot with 2 lifts.
Yeah.
and tire equipment and everything. So, you know, I run out of room fast.
Yeah, I didn't even get the second lift until we added on, you know. What are you looking for? Up on that top shelf up there. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Apparently the bike's dead. I just started it. Up there.
No worries.
In the black bag. We're looking for my jump box. In the black bag in the very back on the right hand side. Yeah, the no-go jump box. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no worries. So what do you think is the hardest part of filming and working on bikes at the same time?
It's right here.
The hardest part, moving the camera.
Moving the camera, getting the right angles, and
moving the camera, moving the lights. You know, I'm a one-man show, so it's it can get tricky. The time, you know, it's like when we're doing these installs, it's like, okay, if I wasn't shooting this video, I could have this done in an hour. You know, now that I'm shooting a video, it takes 2.5 hours, 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know, and on top of that, I think most people know that, like, I'm the service tech for Advanblack. So during the week, even when I'm shooting videos, I have to stop and I'm constantly answering the phone. You know, so that's a struggle, you know, for sure. You know, because I don't like to stay out here super late at night, and you know, I like to, just like everybody else, when I get off work, I'm ready to, you know, hang out with my family and not work on bikes all night. So
yeah,
you know, it's I'd say that's probably the, you know, the editing and all that stuff. I mean, it's all pretty easy. I don't get super crazy with my editing, you know, just like you know, you and I were talking, we just cut the fluff, and you know, I see a lot of guys get super fancy with their editing and stuff, and that's just not what our channel is about, man. You know.
Yep.
I just want.
So this guy Tim says you're a lifesaver. Tell Mary thank you.
So that guy Tim's out in the driveway.
Oh, okay.
Apparently that battery's dead, and the bike wouldn't start, so she came in and got the jump pack. So that's weird. I just pushed that bike out there a while ago, started it up, pulled it on the lift this morning. So I'm not quite sure why it would be dead, but
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that's Tim.
Yeah. And that just threw my whole question off. So you started your channel 6 years ago, came up with the name SIK Baggers. You do some great production work with your videos. I do enjoy watching them. I do watch all your videos. I like every one of them. I don't comment on every one of them, but I do watch them.
Yeah.
And you know, they help me. I'll be honest with you. And sometimes I'll refer to them. And you know, because it's just, you know, you can only make a wheel round.
Right.
And if somebody does a better job of it, why not learn from them? And you know,
I'm the same way, man. Like I watch other people's YouTube videos. Like, there's nothing wrong with, I mean, none of us came into this knowing how to work on bikes. You know what I mean? We all had to learn from somewhere. And you know, a lot of people kind of go, well, how'd you learn how to work on bikes? Well,
that was my next question.
It kind of goes back to, you know, like what I had said to you down there in Daytona. Like, you know, when you grow up and you don't have tons of money to just throw at parts and cars, and when something breaks, you better learn how to fix it. You know what I mean? So it's that's kind of how it all started with me. Just when my bikes broke, or my cars or trucks broke, and you know, I cracked the head or what, you know, I just had to figure it out. I didn't have the money to take it somewhere and get it fixed, you know. So you just
Right.
you learn how to work on your own stuff. And you know, back then, these people, I mean, nowadays people got it so easy, you know, like if you just about anything that you can think of, it's on YouTube, you know. Now, I will say that there's a lot of people out there on YouTube that know what they're doing. I just, you know, I'm sure you've watched a video and they get to the part that's hard and they cut that part out, you know, because it was hard, you know what I mean? And then it was like, okay, well, that's the part I needed to see, you know what I mean?
Well,
So
I'll be honest with you. Early on in my early YouTube career, I've done that.
yeah,
And I've
yeah,
had comments in there call me out on that.
yeah, yeah.
And all I can say is, hey, I'm sorry. I was, you know.
Yeah, it's, you know, that our videos, we try to do A to Z, you know, we try not to skip any steps. And I'm not saying it hasn't happened, it wasn't intentional, but you know what I mean? Like it's happened before on some of my videos, but thankfully nothing serious, you know, but we try to be super in depth. And I think the most comments that I get on my videos, and that's what it is. It's like, you know, thank you for being, you know, so detailed. I had 50 questions coming into this video and you literally answered all of them.
Yep.
You know, and so I think that from the beginning, that's what was important for me.
Yeah.
Was making sure that and then of course, I mean, you'll always get people that come in there and go, well, what are you going to do next? Show us how to put air in our tire. You know, you'll always have that, you know, but for the most part, people are, you know, happy that you went step by step by step by step and explained, okay, I'm doing this, but this is why I'm doing this.
Yep.
You know, this is why I'm doing it this way. But just like anything else, man, you know, we all keep learning. We all learn new stuff every day.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, you have to with these bikes. You have to keep learning.
Yep.
You know, that freaking 24 sitting back there. I've wanted to throw that thing through a garage wall already. So just trying to learn the electronics on that bike is just dumb.
Oh yeah.
$200 electronics book sitting right here that I had to order just to try to figure some stuff out.
So I got a question here from Greg McBee. Is
yeah.
How far are you from Mount Vernon, Illinois?
Yeah, we're in Marion, so not too far, you know, probably half hour, depending on, I mean, so if Greg has been down to Southern Illinois, which I'm sure he probably has, from there, they've been working on that stretch of interstate, I think now for going on, 27 years now. So, you know, depending on if you get caught in road construction, it's not too far.
Yep. And here's one from the Rolling Throttle Life. What's the one part or mod you think every Harley bagger should have?
So the first, well, it would be hard to really kind of narrow it down to one, I think, because I think your contact points on your bike, especially your seat, your handlebars, your windshield. You know, when Harley builds these bikes and they push them out the door, they're, you know, I guess you can kind of call it like they're kind of made to fit everybody. You know what I mean? It's a middle ground for everybody. So, you know, when they do go out the door, you could ride it. I mean, absolutely. You test ride it and buy the bike and ride it and take off, but is it right for you? You know what I mean? So I think that, you know, the handlebars, you know, and the seat right off the bat, you know, I mean, as far as mods go, I don't know. I mean, there's a million mods you can do to them, but I think those things are the things that you should concentrate on first.
Yep.
You know, definitely get the right seat for you. Not every seat's for every butt, you know.
Yep.
Not every handlebars for every hand.
So Corey says, who's a really good friend of mine, and he's been to my shop and we've ridden together. He says you should make that airing up tires just to piss them off.
I should do like a little short. Let's say you put air in your tires. Absolutely. Don't think it.
Yeah, your mic is a little low. Can you move it closer or change the gain on that?
Mine is.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can, man. It's the cam mic. So, and also that motorcycle was out there running.
Oh, okay.
That's Jim. That's good to see Jim.
Yeah.
Can you hear me a little better now? That bike.
Oh, absolutely.
It was running right outside the garage door, so that may have been kind of drowning me out a little bit.
Yep. So, you know, I always, people ask me, hey, I'm getting this, my first motorcycle and I want to make it my own. What's the best thing I can do to make it my own? I know what I tell them. Go get yourself a gas card, fill it up with like $100 and use that just for gas. Go out and ride your motorcycle, get to know your motorcycle, and then it will tell you what you need to do to make it your own.
Absolutely. When you come back and your tailbone hurts or your hands are asleep and, you know, I mean, you're catching too much wind or whatever the case may be, you know, that's when you start figuring it out. But modding, I guess, I don't know, man. You know, I think we all, first thing everybody wants to do is change the slip on, you know, make it sound like a Harley, you know, so we all know EPA's got their hands in that. So, you know, they come out sounding like a Honda, and that's usually the first thing everybody wants to do, you know, make it sound like a Harley. But, you know, and then you get tons of those questions too. Well, what's the best slip on? Well, there isn't a best slip on, you know, whatever you, it doesn't really, the slip-ons don't really change a whole lot on your bike. So other than looks and sound. So, you know,
sound is the big part for slip-ons.
Pick one that you like the way it sounds and, you know, that's in your budget and get that, you know.
I mean, beauty part of YouTube is there's a sound clip video of every slip-on or exhaust.
Oh, absolutely.
Configuration out there, you know.
Yeah, we've done quite a few different exhausts, and I mean, we run different exhausts in here on different builds, but you know, there isn't really like the best slip on out there or the best seat or the best set of handlebars. It's all kind of whatever you like and whatever is, like I said, like it's in your budget, you know.
Yeah. So have you ever had a build go sideways on you?
To the point where I gave up. No, the Softail was definitely a struggle. The Cholo build was, I made up, I don't know, what do you think, 78, 80 new cuss words during that build, brand new cuss words.
Yeah. Well, here's a frightening thought for you. And this is what I do in my members only live. I'll pick a project and we'll work on it together in the shop live. So there's no editing. They see everything as it happens.
Yeah.
Oh, he can't do that.
Oh. you would get to know the real Steve.
You know,
and you get that a lot. You know, people are like, "Oh man, you make it look so easy," and I was like, "No, I mean it's not." And I try to say that in the beginning or the end of the video, like, "Hey, you know, this install is going to take some time. You know, this install is going to take some patience. You know, or certain parts of the installs." But I mean, I cut out all the, where's my 10, where's my, you know, I'm just like everybody else, you know, I walk over to answer the phone and I bring my ratchet over here and I lay it down and then I walk back over to the lift and I'm freaking out, you know, where the hell's my ratchet, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
I've done that. It's like, I'm not organized. Why isn't it here? What the hell's going on?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I cut all that stuff out because nobody wants to watch me walk around looking for my ratchet, you know.
Yeah.
It's not that I tried to make it look easy, but I mean, it's the same things happen to me that happen to everybody else, you know. We break bolts, you know, I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
I say all the time that I need to video him doing his videos, and I would have a huge channel of just his bloopers.
Yeah.
That would be like YouTube gold. If you release a blooper reel, Steve, that would be YouTube gold.
He's been telling me for years.
That all the time.
That's funny. I'll forget, you know, and I'm sitting in there editing and, you know, you're watching the clip and clipping out all the junk and I'll start cracking up and she'll come in there and she's like, "What the hell are you laughing at?" And I'm like, "This, where I just flew off the handle about some dumb, you know, thing. And now it's funny now, you know, it wasn't when it happened, but you know, I was like, I got to clip that out of the video."
Yeah. Yeah. I've done that. Well, I got to cut that out. And you know, one of the best things I have is I sort of, I won't say conned or forced, but talked my wife into being my camera crew.
Yeah.
But she'll say some of the best comments in there, and I'll just leave them. And people love it because, you know, she's funny. I'm not. She is.
Yeah.
I like to leave the funny stuff to the funny people. So you are the tech support for Advanblack. So if someone calls Advanblack tech support, they get you, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How did you get involved with Advanblack?
So it was right after we bought that bike, the Street Glide. I think I had seen they had just came out. They'd maybe been out probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 months. And I think we bought some parts like speaker lids or something. And then I did a little video on them. Just that's because kind of, you know, just had some content, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure I did that video literally at my kitchen table, like showing how to transfer your lids over to your other bags, and did a little video on them, and then I don't know, it was a couple months went by and I got an email from the owner wanting to know if I wanted to, you know, do any more install videos for him, you know. And but I still had to buy the parts, you know what I mean? So it was like, okay, well, else do I want on the bike, you know? And I think we did a set of lowers, and then I think like the third thing was a tour pack or something. And then the whole relationship just kind of evolved from there, to the point where probably about a year and a half into it, you know, it was, do you want a job? And I was like, yeah. I mean, yeah, you know.
Yep.
So I was a mail carrier at the time, and she was the postmaster. She was my boss, and we were not supposed to be seeing each other.
And we didn't.
We didn't see each other, but we, you know, we wanted to. And then this came up, and it made it a lot easier, you know, and I took the leap. So I wasn't a big fan of carrying mail anyway, so.
I joked that he quit his job because he wanted to date his boss.
Yeah, had to quit my job so I could date my boss.
Hey, you know, you do what you got to do for the ones you love.
Yeah, but it started, you know, they only did like maybe, I don't know, what was it, 5 or 6 parts and maybe 7 colors, I think, when they first started. And, you know, it's just kind of grown from there, you know. And I've always done the tech support. And then, you know, at the beginning, I was doing other stuff too. I mean, I still am doing all their flyers and all that, you know, but the Cali team handles a lot of like the Instagram and all that stuff now. I don't have time to mess with it anymore. So
yep.
Cool that they took over, you know, doing that stuff.
Yeah, he's got a good team there, you know, with Cadino and Jessica. No,
Alex,
Ty lost, you know, Advanblack and a loose tie, as Alan would say. But that's awesome that, you know, you got that relationship with Alan. The first product I ever bought from Advanblack was the lower leg fairings and the mid-air frame heat deflectors from my Amber Whiskey 14 Street Glide. Yeah. And I said, you know what? They're less than half the price from Harley.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this company before. If I have them for a year and they crack and break, I buy them again. I'm still ahead of the game.
Right. Yeah.
And I sold that bike in 18, and I grew a friendship from that sale, and he had it until 2023, and he sold it. And those lower leg fairings and heat deflectors were still on that bike, and they look just as good.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. They've grown. I mean, they've had their growing pains just like any other company, you know what I mean? So that's why we've got a good team though that works through that stuff and trying to better the products every day, you know.
Yep. And they're coming out with a whole new line of stuff too for like
it's constant. Yeah. So that's one thing. Like with me, I'll get a lot of the prototype stuff in, you know, before you guys even know that we're even working on it, you know what I mean? And then there may be like stuff for like these Softails, because we don't have like the lowrider or street bob, like they just picked up that street bob, but those that guy works at Harley Davidson and his wife. So they let me borrow their bikes to kind of do, test fitting and, so a lot of that, there's always a lot of stuff going on in the background,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're talking a multi-million-dollar company now.
Yeah.
And always evolving, always, keeping up with the current models. I mean, I saw just yesterday, I think it was, or today, they released the 2025 colors, which was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. We were the first one to release those. We got that. And we've got some more colors coming from 25. So watch for those. And then, of course, a new lineup of parts for the 25s.
Yep.
Didn't take us long to figure out the 24 and older stuff still fits the 25s. Because like our 24 Road Glide, it's got the 23 and down stretch bags, Dominator fender, all that stuff on it. So we'll have some new seats coming out too. They're working on the SIK Bagger seat for the 24 newer bikes.
Yep. Now that SIK Bagger seat for the 23 and down bikes that you helped design, and and they brought to market, that is a very nice looking seat. I'm going to tell you personally, I like it better than the Pro Monkey seat because that's not my style, and I'm not that tall.
Yes, definitely. It's completely opposite of TJ's seat. So, when he designed his seat, he knew exactly what he wanted, and they pretty well gave him exactly what he asked for. And that's like I said in the beginning of my SIK Bagger seat video. I held it up and was like, I know this seat's not going to be for everybody. So, I mean, you're not going to break my heart if you get on here and say, I don't like that seat. That's a very personal thing. The seat, like we were saying earlier, seat and handlebars, windshields.
It looks very comfortable. It's because it's gel.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a gel infused foam or is it just a gel pack over foam?
It's a gel insert in the top. Yeah. So
okay.
You still got the foam. It's a high density foam. So it with the gel in there, and then the gel that we picked was I was trying to explain it the other day. Some gels are super loose, so you get that shear. So if you're sitting on a gel seat that has like that loose gel in it when you're riding, and you're just shearing, and you're going to start to feel hot spots and stuff. So the gel is very important. What type of gel that you use, and we went through a couple of different ones. Like we had a couple of prototypes here that we rode on before we got it done. And I was happy with it,
Yeah. Your name your name is going on it.
Yeah, it was important for me to get it right, So
yep.
We had rode it. The hell did we ride it? Tell the Dragon. Yeah, we had it on the Road Glide and for about 2 months, and then we took it to Tell the Dragon with some friends and had it on the bike. So that gave me some real good seat time on it, you know what I mean? So and then I came back and was like, yeah, absolutely.
This is it.
Yeah.
This is it. That's awesome. And it's available in more than just the orange color, correct?
Yeah, it's 4 colors right now. They got 2 more, I think, green and purple, I think, coming out because the new 24s are going to, we've got some purple colors in the 24s.
Yep.
Some people have already been asking for the green, but we do the standard orange, red, blue,
black.
Yeah, the black, orange, red, blue, black. I don't know. I'm sure I'm missing one.
Probably, because there's always a bunch of colors available.
Yeah. But they're coming out with more colors, and then of course for the 24s.
So yeah, I saw the colors is Mystic Shift. They have the red for 25.
Yeah.
There's like 6 or 7 colors for 25 already, which is awesome. And they were the first aftermarket company to come out with the 25 colors, like you said, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So how much does Advanblack lean on you for, technical advice for them besides the customers?
they have a really good team, and you have to remember too that like they have all the bikes too, so they probably have more bikes than I have. So, you know, their design team they go through a lot. I mean, there's a lot involved in designing, especially like a new part. It's something as simple as like the whole shot saddlebags, you know, may seem like a very easy thing to do, but you know, it starts in 3D rendering, and then it goes to 3D printing, and then it goes to fitment, and then it, you know, it has to go through all these stages before we cut a mold, you
Right.
know. So some of the parts will get will actually be, you know, a 3D printed part, and it's just a double check fitment, you know, on different bikes. You know, it's one of those don't drop it because that's the only one we got right now. You know what I mean? So,
Yep.
but you know, once it clears through all of those stages, then it can go through, you know, the final before we cut a mold for something. You know, and the bigger the part, the more, you know, the more that there is going into that. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of a back and forth, I guess, between
Yep.
all of us on the team. So
Yep. So going back to your shop and away from Advanblack, let's talk more about you and your shop. Now, your shop, you're open to customers to bring their bikes in, and what do you do or what don't you do in your shop?
so I mean, like with us down here, like we don't really, I mean, honestly, we don't advertise a lot. Like, hey, bring your bike over. It's kind of a word of mouth kind of thing. You know what I mean? And just because I have enough going on without, you know, a bunch of advertising and putting signs in the yard and all that stuff. So, but when it gets into like, with me just being me by myself, motor stuff, like I might do some motor stuff for friends or me, but like I can't get into tearing motors out and rebuilding, and you know, I don't have that kind of time.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like running the YouTube channel and working for Advanblack, hell, I mean, like that's already feels like two jobs, you know.
Yep.
You know, I'm up at 4 a.m. and day starts at 4, you know, and you do a lot of social media stuff before 7, take a shower, start working at 8, or start shooting videos, or both, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes
Yep.
it's over at 4, sometimes it's over at 7 or 8 at night. So,
Yeah.
you know,
The
like
most.
we barely got cleaned up in time to sit down with you today.
The deepest I go into a motor is cams. I won't take heads off or jugs or split cases unless it's for myself. But for anybody else, I tell them, look, I can't do that. That's just not what I do.
It's too time consuming, and COVID kind of screwed up a lot of that for a lot of us too, just because you couldn't get parts and you thought you could, and you dive off deep into something and then you realize you can't get parts, and now that bike's sitting in your shop for God knows how long.
Months.
And clearly I do not have the room for that. You know, it's not bad in the summertime when I can push stuff out on the slip, but you know, in the winter months, you know, I got to open the garage door real quick, get bikes moved around, get the garage door shut, you know.
Yep.
So you can't really leave them sitting outside, and
Yep.
so I just avoid it if I can. You know, we do a lot of audio stuff. You know, just I mean, like we've got the Idaho Easy Glide thing going on now for a guy. A lot of that stuff I can get good content out of it though, even though it's not going on my bike. You know, it can still be a good video. You know.
Yeah, I ask people all the time if I'm working on someone's bike and I think it's good content. Hey, would you mind if I use your bike in the video?
Mm-hmm.
And 9 out of 10 times, like, oh yeah, no problem. Thanks for asking. That one time they'll say no. I'm like, okay, no worries.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever, you know, like a lot of times I'll tell them though, you know, like I'll do it, you know, I'll give you the labor because this is going to be a good video, you know.
Yep.
It's going to help a lot of people, so I'm just not going to charge you the labor on it. And
exactly,
you know, I'll make it back later. It's you make it back over time on YouTube. You know how that goes.
Yep.
Everybody
with the AdSense, you know, it's always residual income if it's an evergreen video.
Yeah. So, you know, and that's a lot of our maintenance videos. Those are probably our most watched videos. You know, every month we were talking about that, you know, just doing, because those things never go away, you know. Parts come and go, companies come and go, fads come and go. One thing that doesn't come and go is filters, tires, oil changes, brakes.
Breaks.
You know what I mean? So those are your, I think those are my probably every single month my most watched videos.
Yep.
And that's awesome that if somebody can just watch a video and figure out how to change all three of their oils, or you know,
Yep.
or change their brakes, not having
Yep.
to haul it up to Harley and spend a bunch of money.
And I always tell people all the time, know your limits. You know, I did a cam chain tensioner video. It was pretty well in depth. And I had someone contact me and ask me if I do side work. I said, absolutely. He goes, well, I saw your video and it's above my skill level. Are you willing to do that for me? I said, absolutely. Bring it down and we'll do it. And it's good that he recognized his limitations before he got himself into a point of now it's going to cost more money to get it all back together.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's a big thing. You know, I say that in some of my videos that are more detailed, I guess. I don't know. I'm pretty confident that most of the stuff that I do, I think guys at home that have a bike, even guys that, you know, I get a lot of people say, hey man, like I've never even bought a set of wrenches and I watched your video and I figured out how to do it, you know. So those are the ones that, you know, that's awesome to hear that story. You know, I've got a buddy that just didn't grow up working on anything. You know what I mean? He wants to learn how to do stuff, but he didn't grow up that way, having to work on things. So the videos, you know, he tells me all the time, he's like, man, you know, I never could have done that. And to me, I'm sitting there looking at it like, man, it was 4 bolts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's like the greatest compliment you could get is you inspired somebody to get out there and wrench on their bike.
Right. And you got to remember, like, not everybody's coming from the same place. You know what I mean? Not all of us are coming from the same place when we tackle that specific job. So
I have a good friend of mine. If I ask him to hand me a Phillips screwdriver, I got to tell him the one that looks like the plus sign. No kidding.
Yeah. The cross.
And he's in his mid-30s.
Yeah. Yeah.
But hey, it is what it is. It's not it's not in his wheelhouse, and that's fine.
Yeah.
So if you know you have a very large YouTube channel, you're over 120,000 subs, you got quite the following. Do you welcome any of your followers to come by and just say hello if they're local to you? Or
so a lot of them have reached out, you know. So our shop is at the house, so you know that's always been something, like, I don't know, I'm very protective of that, you know what I mean? Just people just dropping by unannounced, whatever, you know what I mean? But you know, I mean, that's just, I think everybody kind of would be, you know, but it's because it's not like a shop in town away from your family, you know what I mean? So,
right.
Like, but you know, people get a hold of me or whatever. Yeah, I mean, you know, sure, we talk on the phone, whatever.
Yeah, send you an email or Instagram message. Hey, are you available for me to just come by and say hello? Or
I bring people home from work.
She brings people home from work. Calls me, I'm bringing a lady home.
Yep.
From work.
Good night, 701.
Talk shop, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. You know, because to me, that's one way you could get back to the community. Is, you know, always like the meet and greets at the rallies and things. That's always great. But, you know, even here, people like, you don't mind if I come by the shop? No, not at all. And it's at my house.
Right.
That doesn't bother me. Come on by, hang out. You know, I'm working in the shop. You know, I'm not going to stop production of work.
Yeah.
To entertain you, but we could chat while I work. You know,
might put a wrench in your hand, but you can stop by and visit.
Yeah, exactly. So what is your next biggest project that you have planned?
You know what? I really don't have much, man. I don't have like anything huge on the plate. That 24, you know, that thing is the ongoing project, and it's got a long way to go. You know what I mean? We've already did, we did the typical stuff that we do the rest of these, you know, right off the bat: air ride, center stand,
The windshield, I saw the windshield video.
Yeah,
And
clockwork, bars, exhaust.
Yep.
You know,
And you did a great job explaining the rise of the windshield.
Yeah.
Because people always measure the length of the windshield. No, that's not it at all.
Right. Yeah. So we've got 2 old videos. You were in one of them.
My debut.
Her debut was on a Clockworks video. So, you know, it trying to show how to measure for them and stuff. And it's, you know, they're still around, and we're still buying the windshields. And I had those 2 windshields, the red one and the new one for the 24. I had those for a while, and I kind of just been sitting on them, debating if I was going to do a video or not. Because I mean, it's 4 screws, but you know what I mean? Like 3 screws on a street glide, you can pretty well figure it out. But, and then I thought, you know, I am going to redo a video on this, you know, because those videos still get watched every now and again, but not, you know what I mean? The company's still around, and like the 24, 20, 25 windshields are different. So
yeah,
thought, well, you know, I'm gonna just do a new one, see how it works.
So Hook Dog, I don't know if you know who Hook Dog is. He's a subscriber, follower of my channel, and he knows of you, of course, and he wants to know. Last time I changed the fuel filter, I do them every 20,000 mile services, and actually I did a video, I think it was last year or a year and a half ago, where I showed you how to take the fuel filter out, replace it, put it back in, and I made the mistake while on camera putting the old O-ring back in the fuel filter, and I realized that after I did the video, so I was cleaning up, going, God damn it! I took it all back apart and changed it.
Yeah.
And people called me out, and I says, "Yeah, I realized that too," and I went and changed it off camera.
So the fuel filter video I did, right? The one that that thing, I didn't think twice about that video, and that thing blew up. And only a handful of people have caught it. But if you go back and watch that video, when I put the O-ring back on to hold the fuel pump and all that stuff in place, it's upside down. And it literally says this side up on it. And I've got the camera there, and I'm just in a hurry, just trying to wrap this up. And I smacked that thing on there upside down, and I didn't even notice it when I was editing the video. And it was like maybe a year later, some guy, because it's got the little curved humps on it, and they were backwards. And he was like, "Yo, man, you put that snap ring on backwards." And I was like, "Oh shit, yeah, I did." Now, I just left it in there, you know, but yeah. So yeah, it's upside down. Yeah, but few people have caught
it. Jim says, "Steve, what's your best made up cuss word?"
Oh. Yeah, there's so many. I don't know if I could pick one, man. Yeah. It's pretty rough out here sometimes.
Very creative.
Yeah, I can get pretty creative with them. Yeah, it happened today. Yeah. It's always a good day when you can just recycle old cuss words, but man.
People sit there and, you know, like I said, I do lives for the members only. We're working on projects, and they're like, "Oh, you don't throw wrenches or swear or do any of that stuff." And I'm like, "No, I come from the world." You know, I started my life as a mechanic at 14 years old, and I transitioned to Army aviation.
Yeah.
In Army aviation, you don't leave tools behind or curse or swear, you know, so that all applies. And I even say it, hey, I know when you torque, you know, you torque something down, it's torque, but in aviation, you're taught, and it's in the field manual, FM 21-1, that to go around and recheck your torques, especially if it's something you got to torque evenly, you go back around. People call me out. "Oh, you're over torquing it by clicking it off twice and going back around." No, not really.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that was one of the things, like one of the new shirts we just came out with was the Ugga Dugga, because I do that in the videos with the torque wrench. You know, I'm like, one Ugga Dugga, just click it and stop. And that's, you know, but there's a difference from like what you're saying. You're rechecking the torque in a pattern versus And even the Harley service manual will have you do that on some stuff. But when these guys are on one bolt going click, 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 and I'm like, all right, man, it's torque, bro. Move on to the next bolt, you know?
Yep.
So,
Well, if I torque an axle, I'll go click, right? Then I'll let it settle, spin the wheel, and go click again just to make sure.
yeah. Yeah.
You know, because last thing I need is a wheel falling off on somebody.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I build a lot of performance bikes here. You know, like I said, cams. You know, Harley calls it a stage 2. And last thing I need is one of those bolts in the cam chest or the rocker boxes to come out.
Coming out. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so I mean, and I go by the service manual. It says put red Loctite, put red Loctite.
Oh yeah.
It says blue, I put blue. You know?
Yeah. I'm a service manual. And that's, I think, if you go back to one of the hardest parts about making the videos, and I forget, is putting the torque specs on the screen for everybody, or at least mentioning it as you're doing the video, because I have the service manuals, you know. I mean, PDF wise, I probably have 200 service manuals, you know, and
Same
all the way
here.
back to, you know, shovels and pans. And so but I might say it in the video, you know, like 56 foot-pounds, whatever, you know, and sometimes I forget, you know, and then so I'm like having to scramble and put stuff on the screen, you know,
Yep.
like try to provide everybody with the right torque specs. So
yeah, when they give you a range, let's say, you know, 90 to 120 inch-pounds.
Yeah.
I always say never go to the max to 120. Never
Yeah.
go to the minimum of 90. What you do is you get the difference of the two.
Yeah.
And go to split that in half and add that to the minimum.
Yeah.
And
what we do it.
And that's what I do, because you're not stressing out the casing, you're not stretching bolts.
Right.
And always make sure, I always tell everybody, make sure you clean your bolts and run a thread tracer down to clean the threads, because you get a buildup of thread locker or anti-seize or something in there, you're going to break stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I got in a hurry on I was that 22 ST back here when we were doing the external breather kit on it. And those banjo bolts, when you pull them out, I mean, they're just caked from Harley with that just like yellow, whatever the hell they use. And got in a hurry, didn't chase out my threads, stuck the next one in there and snapped it right off. Yeah, I got a motor sitting there with 7 miles on it with a busted banjo bolt hanging out the side of it. I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun.
Yep.
Yeah, so
I got a message here from Minamoto. It says, hello, all SIK Baggers. Love your installs and upgrades. Great videos.
thank you. Appreciate you.
You know, what was the oldest motorcycle you worked on?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I don't even know.
Let's simplify. What was the oldest Harley you worked on?
Yeah. Probably, man, I don't know. I mean, I've worked on a few pans. But you know, what's crazy is that I wished I could have hung out with some of the dudes here just in our area that were the old, you know, the old pan and shovel mechanics, you know what I mean? And learned from those guys before they retired or whatever, you know, because most of them around here have retired. And all those tips and tricks and knowledge that those guys have, you know, who'd they pass it down to? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I want all that, you know. And it's so like when you get something old in here, you're confident, you know. Oh yeah, I know how to do that, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's funny is I learned working on Harleys on shovel heads.
Yeah.
We went to Evos, right? Of course, then you know, twin cams, now M8s. I'm more comfortable with twin cams and M8s than I am with the Evos and the shovel heads now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You know,
Well, they've made the twin cams and they've made them a lot easier to work on.
Yes.
Years. Yeah. The touring models, I mean, like, I guess I didn't really, you know, when we did that Heritage build, it's a 15. So, I mean, the motor wise, I was I was fine with it. It was the rest of the bike. All of the things that they had changed, you know, since the last time I worked on a Softail. And I remember several times going in and telling her, like, I'm never doing another Softail. Like, I'll come out here and work on a bagger all day long. You know, like that Softail drove me nuts. A lot of lessons learned on that bike.
Yeah.
But, you know, and now they've changed it all again. So
yeah. For me, the most exciting motorcycle I got to work on here in my shop was a 71 Sawicki car with a flathead.
Yeah, you were telling me about that. Yeah.
That was cool. I really enjoyed working on that. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, but you know, I don't ever get anything cool like that.
What project you said you had the most fun building or working on?
Which one do I have the most fun with? Yeah, the Road Glide. Yeah, the whiskey build.
Oh, okay, right on.
I don't know if you can see that one. Watch your head.
The Ember Whiskey Road Glide. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, back there. Yeah, so that's probably. Yeah, that was our second bike.
Stock.
Yeah, it was pretty well bone stock when we bought it. Drove up to around St. Louis and got it from a guy and brought it back here. And I think she went out of town for Christmas, and I had the flu.
So you went Christmas shopping for yourself?
Well, she was at her son's in Denver, and I had the flu, and I came out here on Christmas Eve, and I stripped the entire bike down. I put 4 blankets in the floor and stripped every single part off the bike.
Wow.
Running a fever, felt like crap, just stripped it down, sent her a picture. Of course, she freaked out. Yes.
Not as much as I did when I saw the fairing off and all the wires.
Oh, yeah.
Hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my wife comes out and she's like, "You know how to put all this back together?" I look at her and said, "I hope so."
Yeah.
I didn't even ask the first time. I just saw it. I came in the garage, saw what he was doing, and I just turned around and walked out. Like, oh Lord.
Yeah.
Good night, Hook Dog.
But yeah, the Road Glide was pretty fun because I had fun with that one because I did have a plan going into that bike. I set probably for a month and just made a parts list, you know, blacking it out and then all the different parts that I wanted to do. But then it was just a matter of, you know, funds, you know, or trying to find, at that time, our channel was starting to grow. So, you know, you get a little bit more people or companies that, you know, may or may not want to work with you on parts. So, you know, some of them did and some of them didn't, you know, but you just, but you had fun with that build.
Yep. And we talked about that a little bit down in Daytona on the phone that, you know, even though you have a fairly large channel, you still pay for a lot of your parts. You don't get everything for free.
Yeah. Not everybody.
That's a big misconception a lot of people have is, you know, when you have a large channel, you get everything for free. And that's not the case.
That's definitely not the case. And another thing too, is like, I have a hard time. And I told you this, even today with 130,000 subscribers, I have a hard time calling a company and asking for a part. You know, I may call, "Hey, I'm interested in this part. I'm not asking for anything for free." You know what I mean? Like, I really want to showcase your part. It's cool. I think the audience will like it. You know, that kind of thing. Some of them, yeah. You know, we'll work with you, and some of them are like, "Yep, the price is on the internet." You know, so okay, you know, so you roll the dice with it. But I still, even to this day, have a hard time asking for stuff. You know, those companies are out there. They're just, you know, I think a lot of that is just because of Advanblack. You know what I mean? Like, I know what it takes to make those parts and the cost and everything that goes into it, and you just give it away. You know what I mean? It's tough. So I have a hard time asking for stuff, but you know, every now and again, if it's, you know, something super pricey, I may reach out. And like I said, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
Yeah. So. I mean, how I started my relationship with Advanblack is when they came out with the ST fairing, you know, I reached out and I says, you know, Alan, that looked really great on my lowrider S. And he said, okay, we'll talk. I says, cool. I'm not looking for free, but maybe I could get a discount and I'll do a video. And, you know, and there our relationship grew. You know, he sent me the first set of saddlebags on that. And then he sent me a message out of the blue saying, hey, you got any interest in upgrading those saddlebags to the whole shot? I'm like, absolutely. I love those bags. Yeah. You know, and he's a great dude. He really is. He works well with everybody. And, you know, I sit there and I buy things. Like I bought this hoodie and you saw me in it last year in Daytona. He goes, I never sent you a hoodie. I says, no, I bought it. He goes, why didn't you call me? I says, Alan, because you're in business to make money.
Yeah.
I don't call you for everything, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And you just, I guess I feel bad sometimes too, because, you know, you get some companies that may work with you and YouTube is finicky. It's YouTube is finicky as hell. Like you never know when you drop a video if it's going to take off or if it's just going to sit there and be kind of mediocre, you know. And like you and I were talking, I can come out here and pour my heart into a video and take 3 days to shoot and install and then edit it and get all, and it barely moves, you know. And then you come out here and do something like how to put highway pegs on and it blows up, you know what I mean? So it's I guess I worry, you know, when somebody works with me on a part, and then it's like I try to do the best video I can, and you know, and then let YouTube do its thing, you know, like hopefully it does, you know.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't, you're kind of like, sorry about that, you know.
Yeah. So, yeah. It's not like you have control over that, you know.
You really don't, and that's the hard part about YouTube. You really don't have any.
And our niche is so flooded.
Yeah.
I mean, I came into this 3 years ago, and there was a lot of people doing what we're doing, but some people left. You know, like John Maxwell. I was a big fan of John Maxwell's. Yeah. I used to watch his new videos every Wednesdays at noon when they dropped.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know.
So when I started it, there was maybe, I don't know, I'd say 4 or 5. You know, John started a little bit after I did. No, I can't even remember their names, but there's a couple of them are still around. But a lot of them have, you know, once John started his own shop, I knew he was going to be giving up YouTube.
Same here.
Yeah, that's
because he said, I'll have more time for videos. I'll have more time for this. I'm sitting there going, no, you won't, because you're going to be accounts payable, accounts receivable, the mechanic, the service writer.
Yeah.
You're everything.
We went down to his shop and gave him a little visit there a couple of years back. It was right after he started, and he was already, you know, he's like, man, I just don't have time for YouTube anymore. I got bills to pay, and all these bikes need worked on, you know. So I was like, no, I get it, man.
Yeah.
You know, but he's doing good with it. So I mean,
that's awesome.
Yeah, he's still cranking it out down there.
Yeah, he's right outside of Fort Benning too. That keeps him busy, being outside of military base.
Well, that's where I was stationed at, was Benning. So that's one of the reasons we went down. We were going down to Florida, but we had an extra day, and I said, well, why don't we go through Benning, because that's where I was stationed at, and we can also haven't been there since '94, you know. So I wanted to go through Benning. Of course, I didn't recognize anything. Went in and met John, hung out with him for a couple hours, and then we grabbed a hotel there in Benning and then headed on to Florida the next day.
Yeah. Last time I was in Benning was 1989.
Yeah.
When I went to jump school, and that's the only time I was at Benning was jump school.
Yeah.
And a short period for the Ranger inauguration program.
Yeah. Well, your jump school was right across the street from us, and we used to watch you maniacs out there doing
with the 250-foot towers. And
oh yeah, the towers were right across the street from us, from our unit.
Yep.
So every day we just sat out there and watch them. Like, we're good.
Here's a funny story. So, you know, I got 35 jumps with the Army, you know, and fast forward to 2000, 2008, I started flying with the Connecticut Guard, and we went to support Leap Fest, which is an international paratrooper competition. And part of being signed off as a flight engineer, you have to do paradrop operations. So they put me on the ramp. We're doing paradrop operations. Now I'm reaching out to grab the static lines with the deployment bags. I'm looking down, and we're at 1,500 feet. I'm like, God, I'm glad I did that shit when I was young. I wouldn't want to do it now.
Yeah. Yeah. There ain't no way, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Thank you for your service, by the way. Really appreciate all of our veterans.
Yeah, you as well.
Thank you. Thank you. So that's all the questions I have for you tonight. We're already only at an hour, you know. Does anybody in the side chat have any questions for Steve? Let's see.
And I do apologize. I want to apologize to everybody. And I told him coming into this, I was like, you got the tired Steve tonight, man. And I'm sorry if I'm not all, you know, we're exhausted. Hell, we've been 100 mile an hour since we got back from Daytona. So
you and me both.
It's catching up.
I got a garage full of bikes that need work on. I got my own bikes that need parts put on it. And, you know, of course, my bikes get pushed to the side because cash paying customers are a priority.
I still got to go through our bike for blessing of the bikes getting ready to come up. So
nice.
We got to get that thing ready.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're going to be at Blessing of the Bikes.
Yeah. That's so Blessing of the Bikes down here is at the Alto Pass at the it's the Bald Knob Cross of Peace. It's on the highest hill in Illinois, and it's a huge cross. And we've been going to it for years, but I think they had I think this is the 33rd year for it this year, and we're actually one of the sponsors this year. So
nice.
Yeah, we got SIK Baggers as a sponsor, so that was pretty exciting for us to be able to give back to that event because it's an all day thing, and
yep,
3,000-4,000 bikes a year come in. People come in from Texas, all over the place to go to this thing. So
if you're going to be at the Blessing of the Bikes, and if Steve's not busy doing what he has to do, being a sponsor of the event, well, say hello to him. He's a very approachable guy, friendly, you know.
Yeah, we've had quite a few people from YouTube that, and because I don't announce all, like on my videos, I don't announce where we're at, but sometimes it comes up or whatever, and people figure out where we're at or whatever. And we've got a guy and a couple of his friends from the St. Louis area that every year he messages me about this time. Where are you going to be? What time are you going to be there? Like they get want to hang out and talk and stuff. And that's the only time we get to see him, So
yeah, that's awesome. It's like the only time I get to see CJ is Daytona.
Yeah.
And we hang out, and this year we did not hang out that much, and we did not abuse our livers together.
Yeah. 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 I missed him this year. We only got to stay a couple of days. So I think he came in the next day, and we were already on the road.
Yeah, I remember that. You guys left Sunday morning.
Sunday morning. We left at like 4:30 in the morning. But what time did we get home? Was it like 1:30? Something like that? Yeah. Like we hauled.
So Minamoto wants to know, how long does it take to edit the install videos?
So that can be pretty time consuming. Yeah. If it's say, I guess I'll try to explain it like this. If it's a 20-minute long video, let's just take an average of a 20-minute long install. I may have, I don't know, a couple hours worth of film to go through and try to cut, and get it down to where you can pause the video and do what I'm doing or whatever, cut out the fluff, like we say.
Yep.
But the editing, because I don't do a whole lot of the crazy stuff in my editing, like I don't throw a box on the table and the next clip all the parts are out. I don't do all that crazy stuff.
I tried it. It looked good in the video, but I'm sitting there going,
I don't have time to do it, man. I had too much other stuff going on. So editing, 20-minute long video could take me, 3-4 hours to edit, if I stay at it. But a lot of times that doesn't happen either. I may have to close it and work on something and then go back, figure out where I was at, and editing. Oh yeah, that was a guy from Mount Vernon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Blessing of the Bikes out to May 18th. So that thing starts pretty early in the morning. And it goes till like 7 o'clock at night, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Hey,
Throttle.
it's
Have a
good to
good
see
night.
you, man. Thanks for coming, buddy.
Yeah. Good dude.
But yeah, the Blessing thing, it's big. We've been going to it for years, and they bumped the date up now. It used to be a lot earlier, and man, it was either pouring down rain or it was freezing cold. Every like 4th or 5th year, you might catch a good year.
So,
thanks for coming, Greg. I hope to see
Yep.
you there if you go, man.
I was just going to say, if you meet Greg McBee, you got to call him Cupcake. I do all the time.
All right.
He was on a live one time. On his hat was printed Cupcake.
Oh, okay.
So I crowned his road name Cupcake.
Cupcake. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's a pretty cool deal. You get to hang out, socialize. You can go down to the little town that's under the hill there, and they have bands and stuff. Just hanging out, people hanging out, eating. So pretty neat deal.
Yeah, it sounds like a good time. I always try and get out to the cycle showcase there in Illinois every year, but it's so close to Daytona, I can't make it. Because for me, it's airfare, a hotel, rental car. So it gets quite expensive real fast.
Yeah. Well, like this year, hell, Daytona, like we didn't even bring a bike. We were only there Cupcake out. But we were only there for a couple of days, and we spent the majority of it there at the Advanblack booth, and then we had to go, so it wasn't even worth it for us to pull a trailer down there and a bike. And
I don't blame you.
And then we do the Sturgis rally. Now we didn't do it last year. We went to 2 years before, but that's another one that can get expensive really quick.
Yep.
It's a long drive, a lot of gas.
It's my favorite.
Yeah, definitely my favorite rally too. As far as and it's anybody that's been to rallies before. When you're at the rally part of it, the bike, the motorcycle part of it, you're going to see a lot of the same vendors, the same people, they just travel to different ones, and it's what's outside of that rally that's for me. You know what I mean? Like the ride in the Sturgis, like you can't go wrong out there, man. I mean, it's worth the drive to ride out there.
So this is going to be interesting because we might have two different answers to this question. A Thunderheader muffler, stock head pipe, and Screaming Eagle breather from Harley. Now, was that the stock Screaming Eagle breather that came with the bike with the 121 VVT motor? How long would you say I could go with riding it with that setup without a tune of any kind?
So Thunderheader slip-ons, stock head pipe, and a Screaming Eagle breather.
My question is did that breather come stock on that bike?
I think it did.
If it did, then you don't need a tune because it's post catalytic converter.
Yeah. And I mean, even so, this is kind of the way I approach tunes. Every single bike that comes off the line can do better with a tune. That is a basic map tune that they put on that bike to make it run and get probably the best fuel mileage that you can get out of it. And then
the EPA standards for smog and
all the standards. So, but any bike off the line can benefit from a tune. But do you need a tune? No. With that setup, just changing the slip-ons and just changing the breather, even that heavy duty breather, just changing those two things, you're still restricted at the heads, right? So your O2 sensors are picking up restricted airflow. So until you change those headers, then you will need a tune.
Exactly. I agree with you on that wholeheartedly. And it's not a stock heavy breather, but it's a heavy breather from Harley Davidson.
So you're getting more air in, Jim, and you got more. Well, you don't really have more air going out, and that's the whole thing. More air in, more air out. That is when you need to tune the bike.
Yep.
But when you're still restricting it at that head pipe, you know what I mean?
The catalytic converter is your big restriction.
Yeah. Yeah. So until you change that head pipe, once you change that, then you're stage one. So then you need a tune.
Yep. So I'd say put the slip on, put the air breather on, run it. Now I put a Screaming Eagle heavy breather on a M8 Road King with the stock head pipe and everything. I gave it to the guy, and he's a brother of mine, and I said, here, it's one that the pancake, elongated pancake breather.
Yeah.
I said, hey, take this. Well, he wrote it home, and it started throwing codes. So I'm like, yeah, we're going to need to get you a tuner for it. Even though you got the stock head pipe and mufflers, was just so much air going in. And it's an early M8. It's a 107.
Yeah.
So the 121s, from what I understand, from 23.5 M8s for the changeover for the body style, they're a lot more forgiving with adjustments from the O2 sensors. Yeah. And it's still a narrow band O2.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I've changed slip-ons and breathers and haven't had any come back with codes. Not yet. Knock on wood. I'm not saying it can't happen. I mean, you just said it happened. So I'm hoping, I mean, if you start throwing codes, it's more you're running too lean or too rich, and you would benefit from going ahead and getting a tuner on there. But
so Jim, I'd say change them, throw them on, ride the bike. If ride's fine, idle's fine, and you're not throwing codes, you're fine. Now, if it's idling high and you throw a code or both or one or the other, then you're going to need some sort of tuner.
Yeah.
To get a tuner.
Yeah. But I mean, like, going back to what I said before, though, I mean, if a tuner is in your budget, I would go ahead and do it.
Absolutely. You'll get more out of that. Yeah. Even if you kept stock head pipe and stock mufflers, stock air cleaner, just throwing a tuner on it with a good tune, you will get more out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I like to talk about, when you talk about performance builds, it's not in stages, but in percentages. Yeah. Where are you getting the biggest percentage? And that's something I got off of Rolling Throttle, talking to him. The stages is a Harley thing.
Right.
And that's so they can sell you performance upgrades.
Oh, yeah.
And that has transitioned to everybody's like, oh, I got a stage 2, or I got a stage 3, stage 4, or stage 1. But actually, let's talk percentages. What's going to give you the most percentage increase out of those parts? And a tuner will give you the biggest percentage increase of performance over all of that. Now, slip-ons will definitely give you a bigger percentage in sound.
Yeah.
And style and looks, And same thing with a heavy breather.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, Dolly.
Yeah. Thanks.
Dallas is a great dude. I consider him a brother of mine. He's down in Tennessee.
Oh, nice. So not
in
too
Central
far.
Tennessee.
Not too far away from us. We just went to Tennessee.
Yeah. 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 We flew in last year to Nashville. We stayed with him and his wife, and it was a great time. Let me ride one of his bikes.
You can't beat that.
No, hell no. And we went to TMMR.
I need friends like that. We can just fly around everywhere and just let me borrow a bike.
Yeah, well, I was teasing Alan because I'm trying to fly out to California this year and visit the Advanblack booth there in Sonoma, California. And, he had his bike there with the yellow build and, that beautiful bike. And I was teasing Alan. Said, so when I fly out, this is what I'm riding, right? And he laughed.
Yeah. 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 We got to get out there too. We were just talking about that while we were down there. So.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Guns and Baggers? Good to see you. I got your points in here. I let all the members know I got your points on the sheet, so everybody's getting their points for tonight. That are here. If you're not here, you're not getting points. See, all the extra work I do during the lives for the membership.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if it wasn't for the subscribers and the memberships, we'd be making videos for ourselves.
That's right.
We're the only ones be watching it.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I do enjoy your videos. I do enjoy your editing. I watch them, and I watch where you edit and cut and where you do it makes the most sense. And I'm trying to emulate that, and hope you don't mind.
Oh no, absolutely not, man. Hell no. Yeah, I mean, I watched my fair share of YouTubers, before I started doing my own channel. That was a difference between me. I reached out to one guy that he had some decent, subscribers, and I said, hey man, like I'm gonna do this video. I know you've already did one on the subject, but I kind of want to approach it my own way, but I don't want to step on any toes. I'm just trying to be a nice guy, you know what I mean? Like, and this guy came back, and I mean, I'll be honest with you, he was an ass, and I was just like, okay, you know what? I'm going to do it anyway. I wasn't asking for your permission, you know what I mean? So I let it go, did my own thing, and the video did very well. And then I was talking to John Maxwell. We were talking on the phone, and I said, hey man, I did this tab exhaust, and I know you just did a tab exhaust, and you went into good detail about tuners and warranties, and I'm going to do the same thing. And I just didn't want to take anything away from your channel or make you think I was copying your work or whatever. And he was just like, no, man. He's like, listen, dude, you do it. I don't care. There can be 50 tuner videos out there. Do it. There's room enough in this boat for all of us, and we all approach things differently, and we can all learn from each other. I mean, just super cool, down to earth answer,
Yep.
So I approach that the same way when guys reach out to me. Hey, I want to start a YouTube channel. Can you give me a hand or some pointers or whatever? Yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean? I don't feel like I'm creating competition. You know what I mean? There's guys that do the exact same videos that I do. I don't feel that they're competition. Everybody has their own way, and everybody has their own subscriber list. I've seen a lot of familiar names tonight on your channel that I see on my channel a lot. So we share a lot of common subscribers
and whatever, your technique of doing something might be different than mine. The end result, it's all done to the same standard,
right?
But the techniques are different.
Yeah.
And that's what makes everybody different, is the techniques. Now, I did steal one thing from you, and from watching your videos, when you talk about using the power tools, especially with the 1/4-inch battery ratchets and things like that, that you say, hey, if you're not comfortable using this, it's okay to use a hand tool. If you're not comfortable, don't do it, because you'll break things. And I adapted that into my videos.
Yeah.
And I got to, next time I say that, I'm going to give a shout out. Hey, SIK Baggers.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's just, that's a big thing, man. Like I've been using those tools for a long time.
Yeah. And my little battery power tools I have, and I bought them as such a low voltage. They're only 8 volt. Just for that reason, is the max torque with a fresh battery on my little impact gun is 100 inch-pounds.
Right. Yeah.
And I did that by design.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I get a lot of questions. A lot of guys are, hey, what's that tool you're using? You see me using that ratchet all the time. But I've been using that for a long time. So it was, it's another one of those little things that it's worth mentioning, like, don't just hammer all these bolts down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't run your windshield screws in with this unless you've done it 50 times.
And you're comfortable with that tool.
You will bust the desserts out of there. So
my good friend gliding through life wants to know, what do we suggest for good tires for a lot of straight flat riding? He lives in the Southwest Minnesota, don't you know? And not much of twisties. Tires are user specific, I say. Some users love Dunlop American Elites. I love those on my touring bike. On my Softail, I love the Shinko 777s. They don't last long, but they're sticky as hell.
Yeah.
The Dunlop American Elites are good in the dry and the rain. Some people swear by Michelin Commanders. Some people, swear by the Night Dragons, and it's what you like.
Yeah, and that's kind of what sucks too, because it's kind of like a seat. You don't really know until you put it on your bike. You know what I mean? Like we ran Dunlops for a long time, and then when we were in Sturgis, I had a what was it? It was an Avon tire on my fat tire on the front. Right in the middle of it, it split and lifted up while we were going through the twisties. And so the only place out there that would touch a fat tire was in Deadwood. And we put a Dunlop on there, and that thing beat the hell out of me. Like, it was like riding a garbage truck.
So it was too stiff of the sidewall for you.
Oh my God, it was so bad. And so that tire was almost still brand new a year later, because we just kind of started riding the street glide, because I was like, I couldn't stand riding the road glide. And then I had a Metzler 888 put on there, and that thing was like riding on butter, dude. And just a world of difference, and super smooth now. So I'm a big fan of that tire now. That's one of their newer tires. So one of Metzler's newer tires.
Yeah.
So like it's a give and take. If you get a hard tire, it's going to last you longer. It might not ride as good. You get a softer compound tire, it's going to ride a lot better, but it's not going to last as long.
Yep.
So, and
just like anything else, if it ain't the Army aviation motto, if it ain't broke, fix it till it is, which means we used to open up all these compartments all the time for dailies, pre-flight and post-flight. And you open and close these latches and stuff over time, they're going to wear out. So you fix it till it's broke. Just like tires. Every time you take your wheel off, you're going to break. You keep doing it, things are going to wear out and break. Threads, bolts, wheel bearings, it happens. So, I mean, it's up to you how much maintenance you want to do as well,
Yeah, and like his comment right there, running two different kind of tires on that bike, there's nothing wrong with that either. I know a lot of people that do that. I mean, we do it, I mean, I got a Michelin Commander on the back of one and the Metzler on the front. So, I mean, it just, long straight roads, I don't know. I mean, I would probably pick something a little bit stiffer. I mean, if the roads are good roads, you're not having to worry about, sticking to the roads. So get you a tire that's going to last you a little longer.
Yep. Like I said, for my Road Glide, which is our touring bike, I love the Dunlop American Elites because they last a long time. They're good in the rain and they're good in the dry. They're not great in either or, but they're good. Yeah. And they last 15,000 miles.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Tires are weird. I had a lot of faith in the Avons there for a long time. And then once that one did that to me, kind of out of the game on it now. You know what I mean? I called them and they're like, yeah, we know. The guy said, well, it happens when you're in hot, tight cornering. And I said, well, I'm in Sturgis. And he's like, well, there you go. Because, I mean, there's not a straight road out there. You know what I mean? So the whole time you're riding, you're cornering. So, and that he's like, yeah, we know the issue. And I'm like, okay. I mean, are we going to fix this? And he's like, I mean, you can get a different tire. Like, just, screw you. We know the problem. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'll buy something else.
Yep. Hey, Jack, I don't know why either. I saw that today before we went live, and I was talking to Mel about it. She's like, "Whoa, that's different." So I was going to reach out to you after the live and talk to you about it. See, I don't know. I don't know what happened. Maybe your credit card expired, or I don't know. I don't know. His membership, he was a doctor level member, and for some reason, on Saturday he was a member, and today he's not. I don't know. But let's see. RBL Jackson says, I had new Dunlops for my Road Glide. Had to go with Dunlops because they were replacing the front Dunlop under warranty. He prefers Metzler, and he runs them on his VTX 1800.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, tires are like seats, like handlebars, like camshafts. People ask me, hey, what cam do you recommend for me? And I sit there and I tell them, well, that's a conversation you and I have to have. We're going to sit down for about an hour and a half, and this is when you need to be the most honest with yourself and me, because we're going to talk about your ride style, your shift points, what RPM range you like to cruise in, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Then we could now pick a camshaft for you, because I have a whole Excel spreadsheet that I put all that information in, and it'll tell me the lift and duration, which is best for his riding style.
Right. Yeah.
Which a lot of people don't understand. Hello, 2-4. Good to see you. From Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. Well, it's been a couple years since we've been there.
Well, is it Las Vegas, Nevada, or Las Vegas, New Mexico? I got a funny story about that. We were flying from Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and we were headed over to Albuquerque, New Mexico. And we were going out there for high altitude training before we went to Afghanistan, and also doing dust landings and all that. And I had one of the colonels as a passenger, who was the Brigade XO on my aircraft. One of the Blackhawks, I crewed Chinooks. One of the Blackhawks had to make an emergency landing at an airport in Las Vegas, New Mexico. So you can't hear inside an Army helicopter. So I wrote down on the green board, sir, we have to divert to Las Vegas. And he's like, right on. So we land, we shut down. He comes off, he's looking around, this isn't Las Vegas. This is Las Vegas, New Mexico.
Yeah.
He goes, there's the Las Vegas, New Mexico. I says, yeah, this is where they filmed Red Dawn.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. We went out there. We went to Vegas to first SEMA probably 5 or 6 years ago. That was really cool. SEMA was neat. And then
I was always told SEMA is not open to the general public. Is that true?
So,
Advanblack.
yeah, but it was.
I don't think so. We all had badges.
Oh yeah, we all had badges. So hell, I don't know. We walked through the whole thing for 5 days.
Nice.
Yeah.
My little brother was out there with Will Castro. Had that TV show called Unique Whips.
Yeah.
He went out there he worked for Will as his personal chef and trainer, and went out there, and he was sending me pictures of him and Tony Stewart playing blackjack.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Wolverines. Yep. Yeah. That's where it was filmed. That's where Las Vegas, New Mexico is famous for, is the movie Red Dawn. Full of stupid, useless knowledge here. But does anybody else have any more questions for Steve? He's had a very long day.
Oh, yeah.
He has. I can see it in his eyes.
Yeah, man. I'm exhausted.
Yep. But we do have a comment here from Jim. He says, if we're ever around Cincinnati, make sure we announce it and post it up. He would love to meet us.
Yeah.
Well, Cincinnati, I don't know when I'll be out there next, but I will be in West Virginia in June for Mob in the Mountains, which is going to be a great event. It's an old school biker camp out. We're at a campground. We camp out, whether you're in an RV or a tent or you rent a cabin. We ride all day. We come back, sit by the fire, tell lies about the ride that day, tell stories about the ride that day. some shenanigans, some biker games, and then we go to bed and do it all over again for the next 3 or 4 days. It's a great time. Some of the most technical roads I've ever ridden. Makes the Tail of the Dragon look like child's play.
Yeah.
So it's great riding out there. I'm looking forward to going back out there again this year.
That's cool.
Then, of course, Steve, you got to make it sometime to Gettysburg Bike Week. I
Oh,
don't know
yeah.
if you're a history buff, but it's right there at the battlefield. It's awesome.
I am. Yeah, I don't know about how much she is.
He is a big history buff.
I am a history buff. Yeah.
Oh, we stayed at this B&B every year, except for this coming year. And they have a nationally registered historian, and his specialty is the Battle of Gettysburg. He was also an advisor and an extra in the movie Gettysburg.
Yeah.
And we became friends with him. And, one of the things that he does, he brings in replica muskets for us to fire them at the bed and breakfast, which is literally on the battlefield. So here we are fighting replica weapons that were fired during the Battle of Gettysburg.
Nice. That's very
Everything but the projectile. It's awesome.
Yes.
On that Friday, it rained, so we didn't do that. So he ended his lecture and everything, which was all part of the B&B. And he looked at my wife and I says, "What do you guys got planned for today?" I says, "Well, since it's raining, we're probably hanging around here." He goes, "Would you like a behind the scenes and the secrets of Little Round Top, Devil's Den, and Culp's Hill?" I said, "Love it. Let's do it."
Yeah. That's
Yep.
cool.
Then he also pointed out on one of the bridges where dinosaur prints are.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Talk about a lot of history in that one area.
Yeah, that would be cool.
You got to get out there. Next year, I'll be out in Sturgis. We're going to be out there a week before the rally to do a lot of the rally riding. And then we'll probably leave the second or third day of the rally.
That's pretty smart.
And so I'm thinking the first or second day that we're there, I'm going to go hang out with Alan and, drive him and his team crazy and Eddie crazy.
Yeah. They'll be there.
Yeah.
I doubt we're gonna make it this year.
Yep. No, I'm 26 is the year I'm going.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the only rally I'm doing in 2026 because of time and money. My buddy's got a 35-foot RV. We split the gas. We split the campsite. So it gets expensive really fast.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we do the same thing. We split with my buddy Jeff. He's got a big ass RV, so we load the bikes up in it, and then we just try to split everything down the middle.
Yep. It gets expensive fast.
You try to buy a bunch of food and eat it back at the campground, but you end up not. You end up just eating everywhere, wherever you are.
Yep. The same thing every year in Daytona. We've been going to Daytona now together for 3 years in a row, and same thing. My big thing is breakfast. I love making breakfast. I think I made breakfast once, and I had enough to make breakfast for 5 days.
We did make quite a few breakfasts out at Sturgis because
So we found it.
and then we found an old greasy truck stop, and then it was over after that, dude. We were in that thing every day,
And it was affordable.
Yeah. So
Wow. Let's see, probably been talked about, but the red and black Rogue Glide behind Steve, is that the Advanblack? Yes, it is.
oh yeah.
Yep. That's the one that I brought up on Moto Noggin's channel last night. That body kit, the full body kit is $12,000 right now on Advanblack's website.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful paint job, and you could do it in different colors.
Yeah.
Green, blue.
Yeah, you can choose your own colors.
Purple, black. And if there's another color you wanted as your base color, I'm sure if you call them, they could definitely accommodate you. So if you wanted it with like snake venom, or you wanted it with something else, they would be happy to do it.
Yeah.
But don't call the tech line to ask that question. Call Advanblack.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Let's see. We're living that was. Oh, no kidding. The Living Dead was filmed where Fat Guy lives. No kidding. It says, is there a decent quality oil dipstick with temp readings, or are they all junk? HD Digital one is expensive and has poor reviews. Yeah. They don't last long. They get moisture in them and they're garbage.
Yeah. And there's a reason why Harley Davidson doesn't put a temperature gauge on your motor. Because most guys would shit bricks if they knew how hot that bike was running.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, one of the best dipsticks you can get right now is the one from Figurati Designs with the magnet on it.
I have one.
Yeah, yeah, we did several of his parts. He rode his bike here, stayed a couple of days with us, shot some videos, and then headed out. We rode up to the cross where they had the blessing thing. It wasn't during the blessing, but we rode around quite a bit and came back here. And then when the dipsticks dropped, you know, he sent me one, and I was like, you know, we'll see what it does. You know, shit, that we've got them in all of the bikes now.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you, I didn't pay for mine. I won it off of Two Up Journey Junkies. They gave one away.
Is that right?
On one of their lives, and they asked the question. One of the questions, what's the most popular video? And you know, I answered that question and I won it. So
yeah, that's the dipsticks have done really good. Like I said, we picked up a red one actually for this bike. When we
they look like jewelry.
Yeah, well, they're jewelry grade for sure. The guy he has doing the detail work on them.
Thank you, Jim. That means a lot. Jim says he watches a lot of our videos. That really means a lot. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man. I do see you in there leaving comments, man. I do appreciate that.
That's it. Yeah, 350 degrees. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I had a guy actually he emailed me the other day. He was kind of freaking out about his temperatures. He put a tuner on, reading live views, and getting 350 at the heads. And I'm like, he's like, I'm in Texas and it's like 70 degrees. And I'm like, it's going to get hotter. So yeah, they get hot, man. There's not, you know, they're meant to run hot, but you know.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. RBL Jackson says he references our videos all the time. That's awesome. And like Steve said, there's no competition. Well, one, you know, it's a much larger channel, like 1% of his channel or 3% of his channel. But that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, Steve is a very gracious person. You know, like I said, I met him in Daytona for the first time. I've been watching his videos, God, going back maybe 5 years. And, you know, I got a chance to meet him at the Advanblack booth for the meet and greet that Alan set up. I was like, oh, it's awesome. Steve's going to be there. I can't wait to meet him. Yeah. And then I stopped in Friday, and then boom, Steve was there. We spent a good 2-3 hours just jaw jacking.
Yeah, just shooting the shit. Yeah.
You know,
nice to meet you.
Oh yeah, and then we got to fondle the new products that he had laying out on the table in the background. Oh, those are some nice products. I can't wait till he gets them up on the website.
I'm still waiting on mine. So
because I'm really looking forward to the mirrors, the green and the golds for both my bikes, and that backrest if it's available for the Softail, because I would really be interested in putting that on that Softail.
I think it will be. I think they're doing one for that. I got the red mirrors on this bike, and then the carbon fiber and red shift linkage we did on this one. Yeah. Nice.
Good looking products. You know, Advanblack is always being innovative and growing their product line, and at times dropping things like I think they dropped the wheels, or he's getting out of doing wheels.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do too much with the wheel anymore. Yeah.
I'm very grateful I have the green one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, I mean, there's a lot of wheel companies already, you know.
Yeah.
It was just something, you know, he's just trying something, and you know, not everything's a zinger, you know. So
yep. All right, good night, gliding through life. Good to see you back on the YouTubes again, man. Let's see. I got a road glide in August last year and used his videos for the first 3 holes change done. Awesome. Easy with decent instructions to follow. Bingo.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm glad you. That's what it's all about, man.
So I got a question for you. Do you prime or not prime an oil filter?
So I don't fill it clearly because you'll dump
Right, because it just spills out.
dump it everywhere. On I've done it both ways, and I don't see any harm in not doing it, only because it's such a short distance that as soon as you hit that ignition, you're shooting oil in there,
Yep.
And I've done it both ways. I poured it in there and kind of swooshed it around and
let it sit for about 10-15 minutes,
soak it up, and and then if I'm in a hurry though, I will put a filter on and call it. And I've never had any issue with doing that. I've never had a bike or even one of our bikes come back and, well, it's because you didn't prime your filter. It's just such a small, compact thing, and it happens so quick.
Yep.
That
the reason why I asked that is because it's been a very controversial topic.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure you've seen Chris, aka SIK Glide. He used to be Blockhead's mechanic.
Yeah. Okay, that's why I've seen it. Yeah.
Yep. And he just dropped a video. He started his own YouTube channel. He dropped a video about saying he doesn't prime them because he doesn't feel the need to. All you got to do is lubricate the O-ring.
That's it. Lubricate the O-ring, stick it on, hand tight, you're done. So when you show me bikes over and over and over again that something serious is going wrong with them because you didn't prime a filter, then I'll start telling everybody they absolutely have to prime a filter. You can't. You're not going to show me that. So
yeah,
that's why I don't think it's
critical.
Not a biggest issue, just something for people to argue about.
Now, if it's like the older Softails where they were behind the transmission and they were up,
yeah, that's a lot.
That I would prime.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot to pump. Not on these twin cams and Milwaukee 8s and
yeah,
don't worry about it.
Yep.
I mean that's like arguing about what's the best oil,
Well, we all know if the oil that lubricates is the best oil.
That's the best one.
Yep. We also want to know any options on those flow filters that added coolant fins and that are cleanable media. I think it's a lot of money, and you add a lot more maintenance to your steps by cleaning that filter.
Yeah.
Regular disposable oil filters are cheap enough.
Yeah. I haven't used them. I mean, if you're buying your filters from Harley, then that can get pricey. But your disposable ones. But we get most of our we do AMSOIL stuff. So
AMSOILs are pricey too.
But I mean, if you're a dealer or a dealer, you can get.
I'm a dealer, but I still find them pricey. I stock the high flow oil filters.
Yeah.
I look at the bottom line.
Yeah.
I have to.
Yeah, we just buy AMSOIL kits and just stock them the way we have them. Especially when you got 5 bikes and you change the oil.
Well, I buy motor oil 5 cases at a time with 3 cases of primary and 3 cases of transmission at a time, and just reminds me I got to put an oil order in tomorrow. Just go through.
Well, with the Milwaukee 8s, they will self torque themselves down to 100 foot-pounds.
Absolutely, and it's just you spin it on until you feel it a little tight, and then it just a quarter turn with your hand. Anything more than that, it's over torqued.
But the Milwaukee 8s will tighten. They will absolutely tighten as you ride. I've had some that I've had to drop the oil cooler, screwdrivers, chisels in there. Oh my God.
I got to send you a picture of an oil filter wrench I have. It's got 3 fingers on a cam. They'll actually grab and crush the oil filter, and as you twist it off.
So I had a subscriber send me and I had it on my desk until the other day. I put it on my toolbox. It's a, I think it's a 3/8 drive block with a like seatbelt strap on it, basically.
Yep.
As you roll that, it tightens on the can, and it may squish the filter, but it's not gonna strip at the end, or I mean, how many of us have stabbed screwdrivers through them and
Yeah.
ripped the side of the oil filter out? Yeah,
I've actually sat there with a large set of channel locks on an oil filter, cursing the gorilla that put it on.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
That's one of the things I always say. It doesn't have to be gorilla tight. You don't need McGilla Gorilla putting this on.
Yeah. Well, I've called people and asked them who did their last oil change. Well, so and so Harley Davidson. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Call them up and ask them what size impact they used to put the filter on.
1 inch drive.
Jesus.
The kind you see at the truck stops taking off tractor trailer wheels.
Yeah.
And it was 6 Ugga-Duggas.
Yeah. They don't need it.
It's funny. You talk about making shirts with the Ugga-Duggas. That just reminded me. I was going to make a shirt that says I avoid warranties until I saw you wearing one down at Daytona. I'm like, nope, can't do that. That's Steve's shirt.
Yeah. Yeah. We've been making these for probably 6 years now.
Yeah. I've been saying that all the beginning. I avoid warranties. Yeah. Warranty never met her.
Yeah. Yeah. We do this one, and then I was going to do the one that was on the back, and it said stay back real big at the top. It said stay back. I built this shit myself, like on the back of a shirt, and then we ended up scrapping that one. And this t-shirt run, we just did the Ugga-Dugga, and then this one, the I Would. I had so many people asking me about Ugga-Dugga shirts. We never did one, and so I designed one. And man, this pre-orders, almost everybody's ordered one.
Awesome. That's awesome. No worries, man. The only dumb question is a question not asked. I don't mind repeating myself.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no problem.
Bolts need to get torqued down. Actually, there's a lot of bolts on your motor that get 100 foot-pounds. There's actually quite a few bolts on your Harley that go to 100 foot-pounds.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised.
Red Loctite 276 and 100 foot-pounds.
Yep.
They'll make sure it ain't coming off.
Yep. Or Loctite 660. Have you ever seen that stuff?
Yeah, I've seen it. Not buying it. Costs too much. I will wing it with something else.
I actually use that to fix keyways and crankshafts on Mazdas.
Yeah.
The early Mazda 1.6 motors, the key would eat away at the crank.
Yeah.
And it would throw the timing off for the crank gear.
Yeah.
Well, the inexpensive quick fix was you take it off, you put some Loctite 660 in there, you put the pulley on, or the pulley, because it was timing belt. You put the pulley on, and then you torque it. And then you let it sit for 24 to 48 hours for it to cure.
Yeah.
Granted, after you do that, that pulley is never coming off again.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it's some really strong stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, Gun's already pre-ordered his.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Corey said that shirt would be perfect for Noggin. Oh, man. Hey, Joe, how you doing? Let's see. I've always depended on Dr. Harley's torque settings. Oh, right on. Thanks, Dean. Appreciate it. He come in all the way in from California.
Nice.
Yeah. Dean Benedetti. Good dude. Really good dude. Yeah. That's all the questions I have for you. We're almost at this at 2 hours tonight.
Yeah.
It goes by fast.
Good live, yeah. We're about 8 minutes away from my bedtime because I got to get up at 3:30 and start all this all over again.
Well, then why don't we do this? I'm going to put you up on the big screen. I'm going to let you get your final words in.
All right. Well, hey, I appreciate you guys stopping by and listen to us talk about bikes and about me, I guess. you want to know about me, I'm gonna get out of here. We got a lot of new stuff coming up on the SIK Bagger YouTube channel, so make sure you check us out over there. And until then, as always, be safe. Keep your knees in the breeze.
Could have said it better myself. You know, I like to thank Steve for coming on again, being gracious and giving his time, because he's a busy man with everything he's got going on with his shop, his social medias, YouTube, Advanblack. I mean, man wears many, many hats. I really appreciate your time. Thanks for hanging out tonight.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, everybody, thank you in the side chat for being here. Thank you for your questions and your comments. Really appreciate it. Des, thanks for being here tonight. And everybody, I just want to say, as always, I want you to live the best life you can. Ride often and always ride hard.